Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to your Lunch Break Live. My name is Savannah Harinque if you're new here, and if you're not, thank you for coming back. Today is Wednesday, October the 5th, and today we're going to talk about something that happened yesterday at Birmingham City Council's meeting, and that is a discussion about the medical marijuana dispensaries that will be coming to Jefferson County and across the state in the next year or so. Our own Greg Garrison was covering that meeting and wrote a story yesterday about the Birmingham City Council's discussion and about what the councilors themselves thought about these dispensaries. Greg, this has been something we've talked about over and over the past year or so after the legislature approved medical marijuana in Alabama. Give us a quick look and a kind of a quick recap, maybe for people who have forgotten. When is medical marijuana likely to be actually accessible in Alabama? And what are some of those guardrails there?
Yeah, there's still a lot of paperwork to be done on this, but I would expect by the end of 2023, next year, we should possibly see the start of availability of medical marijuana in Alabama. The legislature passed a law last year, and what it means is that dispensaries will be set up around the state, that if you have a medical marijuana card from your doctor, you can go to these places and get pill form marijuana, medical marijuana. You won't be able to get leaves to smoke or pot brownies or anything like that. It will be strictly medical type treatments. And you have to have certain conditions such as Parkinson disease or a child with autism, those types of things. There's a long list of conditions that qualify for medical marijuana treatment. So what happened yesterday is that the Birmingham City Council did a first reading of an ordinance saying that they would approve of medical marijuana dispensaries being located in Birmingham. That's a first step for a dispensary to be able to locate in an area. So municipalities have to take this step. So we've got Birmingham doing it. Montgomery, Tuscaloosa, Dothan, Daphne, and Foley have also taken these steps. So they're lining up to be entitled to have medical marijuana dispensaries when they come online. Now, what also has to happen is that this medical marijuana is going to be grown in Alabama. All that has to be approved by the state too. So it's going to be grown and processed here, put into pill form and so forth. Everything's supposed to be done in state. And
It's a
that's why it's
multi-layered,
taking a while. We're
right?
still getting the guidelines together on all this.
And as you mentioned, the growing is supposed to be done in Alabama, so you cannot grow this overnight, right? There has to be these permits that are issued, and the farmers have to get those permits to start growing, and then there is a cultivation period. So that's why this is a long process. But what the council was talking about yesterday was that whenever the products are ready to sell to those with the medical marijuana card, what are they going to do? So they kind of were taking a look at the future, possibly late next year, early 2024, when the products are available. We know, again, these dispensaries will not be a place where you can just walk in and make a purchase. You must have that card that is distributed to people with certain illnesses and other ailments by a medical doctor. But that being said, Birmingham City Council, according to the law, can have up to 9, Jefferson County, I should say, can have up to 9 dispensaries in the county. So Birmingham yesterday was saying that they had several people apply for permits to operate one of those dispensaries. So what is it going to look like? Where are these 9 dispensaries going to be across the county? Will we for sure get 9, or is it just a max of 9?
Well, actually, you have to apply for business licenses through the state. All the city is going to do, the only role they play is to say, yes, we have an ordinance allowing dispensaries here. Everything else is done through state regulation. So those businesses have to go through the state. The way the law is written, the max you could have in Jefferson County, which is the most populous county in the state, is 9 of those. So Birmingham is saying we're okay with those to be located here. From there, it's between the business owners and the state regulators on who they are and where they'll be. The city council wanted some input on, are they going to be in my neighborhood? There was some concern from City Council member Hunter Williams, that Huffman neighborhood residents were not okay with CBD oil stores opening up there. And Mayor Randall Woodfin said this is not the same thing, but there are plenty of other neighborhoods that would welcome it. So
Mhm.
we haven't even got to that point where they figure out where they're going to be. It was
Got
more
it.
of a discussion of making it legally permissible to put them in the city limits of Birmingham.
They're
Now,
essentially paving the way so that when these
right,
businesses can open, they're ready. And again, you mentioned that the mayor told Councilor Williams that these were not like CBD stores. We saw those pop up across the state a couple of years ago. It seemed like there were quite a few, even several on the same street corner. It seemed like in parts of the city. And I know that's what Councilor Williams was referencing, saying that people in his district in one of those neighborhoods weren't excited for those CBD stores. And again, as the mayor said, this is different. And the biggest difference there's a lot of difference in the products, right? But the biggest difference is, from my understanding, you can't even walk into the dispensary unless you have that card, or I guess unless you're a parent or guardian of somebody with that card.
yeah, that's right. You're not supposed to be able to walk into these stores. They will be under surveillance, and you have to have a medical card just to go in. Going back to the CBD oil, cannabinoid oil was legalized a few years ago for sale in Alabama, and also hemp growing was legalized, so that in 2019 you saw the first legal crop of hemp, industrial hemp in Alabama. And industrial hemp is the source of CBD oil. It has a lower THC level, which is the chemical compound in marijuana that has the drug-like effects. So we've kind of been stepping towards this first with CBD, hemp growing. The hemp crops that we've been growing in Alabama the last couple of years would be exactly the same as the marijuana crop. It will just be a type of hemp that is the higher levels of THC. Hemp and marijuana is hemp. So we've kind of been stepping toward this first with the hemp, industrial hemp, CBD oil sales, and medical marijuana is another step along the way. Where they're stopping is saying no recreational use of marijuana, and also federally speaking, marijuana is still a Schedule 1 drug, just like heroin. So it is not being legalized for recreational use. It's only being approved for uh, certain uses related to Parkinson's, autism, those types of diseases where there's some medical indication that it could be helpful.
Well, and Greg, I remember when this happened again. You said 2019, and this feels like talking about, I guess, the Stone Ages before the pandemic, a different lifetime. But I remember you and I shared a desk, and you were doing a project on medical marijuana, on hemp, on CBD, and you were breaking all that down and learning about the differences there. I thought was very interesting, because sometimes people see the word hemp, or they see the word CBD, and they see the word marijuana, and they forget that they all are related, but there are these specific differences. So I'm glad you brought that up there. And we know medical marijuana has also been something that before the legislature approved last year, it had been brought up for several years, debated for several years across the state. So I think for some people, they feel like this is a conversation we've been having for a really long time.
Right. And I was out in the fields when they were planting that first crop of hemp, the first crop of hemp allowed to be grown legally for 100 years, for over 100 years. And it looks exactly like marijuana plants. It's the same plant. It's just there types of hemp that have the lower level of THC, and the level is less than 0.3% that can be used for CBD oil. What we're talking about with medical marijuana is full strength marijuana that's being broken down into tablets, gels, things that can be taken internally, and also creams, things that could be applied topically on your skin as a treatment. So those things would be what is available in these dispensaries that could open up at the end of next year, definitely by 2024. If you've driven through states that have already established this, I was driving through Illinois recently, and you drive right past them, it says dispensary, and it looks like a CVS, it looks like a pharmacy. And basically, that's what it is. It specializes in dispensing medical marijuana.
Greg, when will these licenses be given out to people who want to start these dispensaries, who want to own a dispensary?
They're in the process of that now. So the state is accepting applications. It's trying to determine the qualifications. You will have to have training. You'll have to go through specific training on medical marijuana. So there are guidelines, there are regulations. They haven't been completed yet. So they're still working all that out. And also with the growers, the industrial production of medical marijuana, that all is in the process right now.
Again, I know it feels like we've had this conversation for a long time, but we likely will continue to have it until the medical marijuana actually, the dispensaries open and the distribution actually begins in Alabama. Like you said, late next year, likely early or by 2024. So you can read Greg's story here about Birmingham, about the discussions that the Birmingham City Council had on this issue yesterday. We're going to leave that link here. And otherwise, Greg, thank you for your expertise here. I know, like you said, you've been covering this for a long time, and we appreciate all of the expertise you bring there. Everybody watching, thank you. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks.